Good day everyone. Today I am going to continue the discussion of Module 7 under Lesson 7.1 Outcome-Based Education for the Teacher Preparation Curriculum, and this is the continuation.
Is enhanced teacher education curriculum anchored in OBE. So what could be a teacher education curriculum that anchors itself on outcome-based education? And how and what would be the features of this curriculum that could address the future education? What would be the future of this curriculum that could address the future concerns of basic education? What competences must one acquire to be able to address these concerns? How will these competences enhance the attributes of a teacher education graduate? How will these competences enhance the attributes of a teacher education graduate? Next slide is learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to analyze the influence of OBE or outcome-based education in the teacher education curriculum. Next is reflected in the future teacher education curriculum in the light of outcome-based education or OBE. So the next slide is teacher education curriculum anchored on OBE or outcome-based education. So desired outcomes of the teacher education programs or ideal graduates of teacher education program competencies. So within the field of teacher education, significance effort of being made to make instructions more globally relevant while stimulously setting regional requirements and customs into accounts. A lot of cooperations is required from the educators curriculum, specialists, staff, teachers, students, and all parties involved of this. So outcome-based education is one important way that we are changing the way that we teach. In addition, surveying philosophy. This is also a system and a method of instructions. Considered clear indications that we are changing, and we evaluating the way we train educators by concentrating the one skill students should possess and of course rather than the knowledge you should acquire. The aim is to increase the effectiveness of significance of education. This change is a part of a bigger push to ensure that the education is more grounded in reality, that what students learn can be applied both locally and globally. So this is so we'll also honoring and taking into account different points of view. So but before that I have a question. So first, so unsa kaya ta nga pagka-maestra in the future? Unsa ang mga qualities nga unsa ang mga qualities, mga skills nga naa nato as a future educator. So it is important to specify the skills, the results, the teacher's education program, and anticipate it to provide in order to answer the concern. This outlines the qualities that are expected to the ideal graduates, acting as a guide, harmonizing teacher competencies become crucial when taking consideration the significance of K-12 education and complying both national competencies based education standards or the NCBTE's framework issuance 2015 global criteria in order to shape these competencies and make sure they meet the needs in the 21st century in outcome-based education or OBE. It is essential. Yes, outcome-based education is very essential. The values, the abilities, the knowledge is essential. Good in teaching must be emphasized in the teacher education program. So the next slide is competencies for all future teacher in the teacher education curriculum. So it is a desire that all graduates of any teacher education program should have the following competencies to be ready to teach in the classroom. Here are the suggestions based on CMO 30 as 2004 and the NCBTS. So the first is demonstrate basic and higher levels of literacy for teaching and learning. The second is demonstrate deep and principled understanding of the teaching and learning process. The third is master and apply subject matter, content, and pedagogical principles appropriate for teaching and learning. The fourth is apply a wide range of teaching related skills in curriculum, developments, instructional materials, learning assessment, and teaching delivery. So the fifth is articulate. So the next is art. Number 5 is articulate and apply a clear understanding how educational process relate to political, historical, social, and cultural context. So the sixth is facilitate learning in various classroom settings with diverse learners from different cultural backgrounds. So the seventh is experience direct field and clinical activities in the learning milieu, milieu as an observer, teaching assistant or practice teaching. So the next slide is number 8. Create and innovate alternative teaching approaches to improve students' learning. Number 9. Practice professional and ethical standards for teachers anchored for both local and global perspectives. So the last competencies is pursue continuously lifelong learning for personal and professional growth as teachers. So the next slide is they have teachers standard outcomes and domains addressed in NCBTS. So and now we will discuss about the teacher standard outcomes and domains addressed. So teacher standard uses specialized knowledge and skills in a variety of school contexts and diverse students' background. They apply injury with the use of research approaches and utilize evidence-based knowledge to improve teaching. While the domain address in NCBTS is diverse of learners, learning environment, curriculum. And they have diversity of learners, planning, assessing, and reporting. Personal growth and professional development. They have social regard of learning. So, meaning in the flow of dedications, teachers are essential and highly effective teacher is one who has specific knowledge and abilities that can be applied to a variety of learning environment and students' backgrounds. This includes that as a teacher, you have developed the skills and unique subject to your area of concentrations. What makes you unique is your capacities to apply your particular knowledge and abilities in a range of educational contexts, from regular classroom to more unusual setting like computer labs or outdoor areas. So the next slide is teacher standard outcomes. Self-directed continuous learning related to own expertise for enhancement of studies, outcome, and strengthening of professional identity. And while the domains addressed is personal growth and professional development and social regard of learning. Teacher out standard is maximize the involvement of education stakeholders and non-education communities to work in collaboration for relevant educational reforms, and they have community linking. The next slide is they have from the identified competencies, standard, and outcomes to outcomes the ideal graduate of the teacher education program as a new breed of teacher, and they have 10 ideal graduates which are multiliterate, reflective, master subject content, highly skilled, sensitive to issue, multicultural, innovative, highly professional, and lifelong learning. So we envisions our ideal teacher education program graduates as a vibrant force in the field of education, being multi-literate and creative variety of communication styles, and always looking for a new and inventive way to teach. They have a wide range of skills. These are highly qualified individuals that can be handled a variety of obstacles, both in and out of the classrooms. Both in and out of the classrooms. So the next slide is number 2, teaching education curriculum and example. So at the end of the degree plan of elementary or secondary teaching, the future teacher they have demonstrate basic and higher levels of literacy for teaching and learning. They demonstrate deep and principled understanding of the teaching and learning process. They mastered and applied the subject matter content and pedagogical principles appropriate for teaching and learning. So the next teacher education curriculum is they applied a wide range of teaching related skills, curriculum development, instructional material production, learning assessment, and teaching delivery. They articulate and apply clear understanding of how educational process relate to political, historical, social, and cultural context. The last teacher education curriculum is they facilitate learning in a various classroom setting, diverse learning coming from different cultural backgrounds. So the next we will talk about the content and pedagogy. So the next we will talk about the content and pedagogy to achieve the outcomes. So course or degree contents to become a teacher. A college degree is required. Example of probable subjects in the professional teacher education. Letter A, foundation course. B, pedagogical content knowledge courses. C, major courses of secondary and selected area content for the elements. Letter D, experiential learning courses. Explanation. So in the professional teacher education program, students typically encounter range of subject design to equip them with solid foundations and locations. Education and teaching foundation courses delve into principles and theories underlying educations, while pedagogical content knowledge courses focus on integration subjects matter with effective teaching methods. For secondary education, major courses emphasize depth understanding of specific subject area, ensuring comprehensive knowledge for teaching of that level. In elementary education, these courses cover selected subject areas to provide broad foundations. Experimental learning courses offer hands-on experience, allowing future teacher to apply their knowledge in the real world classroom setting. These combinations ensure aspiring educator develop the necessary skills, theoretical understanding, and practical experience through their teacher careers. So the next slide is, for example, in the subject curriculum development, the desired course outcomes are identified curriculum concept that includes the nature and purpose of curriculum. The second is discuss the different models of curriculum and approaches to curriculum designs. The last is explain curriculum development in terms of planning, implementing, and evaluating. Next slide, in summary, the teacher education curriculum that approaches the outcome-based education or OBE model for classroom practice begins with the end in view by establishing the program outcomes at the start. It is followed by course content, pedagogy, and assessment. But the three components are linked to each other.
So the next slide is
So they have evaluating, planning, and implementing. While the evaluating is they have assessment of learning, so indicate if degree outcomes have been achieved. While the planning, degree outcomes and attributes of ideal graduates. The last is implementing contents methods of delivery.